The Jack Halford podcast today. I'm doing a rest day today. As to yesterday, I did about a 15-mile run. We got up at around. Well, I was up at around 10 to 4 a.m. and I met all the lads and the ladies at a random car park in the pitch black in a place I'm unfamiliar with. Kind of dodgy, to be honest, because you just answer a message to someone you never met before and just turn up at 5 a.m. hoping they're not going to murder you, but luckily they didn't. We went on a fantastic run, quite hilly, country parks, up some really big hills to one of the three peaks. I think they call it the three peaks in Leicestershire. So old John, we went up and it was beautiful. We saw the light pollution the city's making. And we went back and it was 15 miles. We were supposed to do a half marathon, but they added an extra 2 miles on and it was brutal. Next Sunday, they said they're going to do around 20 mile. And I was like, don't know about that. Don't know if I'll come for that. You know what? I think I'll push myself this week. Do a tempo run, do a relaxed couple of runs and do a lot of resting and eating properly and stretching. We'll try it. We'll try and bang it out. Because if I can do that, I can do that as well, I reckon. And if I'm ever going to get to doing ultra marathons, then you just got to fucking keep pushing yourself, haven't you, to be honest? I know that I was trying not to go too much intensity this year to start with, and I haven't been. For the last couple of weeks, I've just been doing a month or so, I've just been doing 8 mile long runs on the Sundays and trying to do about 2 miles every weekday. But yeah, just try and do some massive runs, get really into it. And instead of going to the gym, I'm kind of going to my allotment and just shoveling shit, literally shoveling shit from a farm, manure and that, taking it to the allotment. And I don't park right next to my allotment either. I'll park at the entrance and I'll walk with the big bucket of manure that probably weighs 20-30 kilos or something, but it's a hard thing to carry because it's just it's an awkward shape. It's a bucket, so it's almost like a strongman sort of walk, some kind of walk. But yeah, that's coming to shape. I've been laying some slabs and using rotted wood to kind of create like a weird flooring that works around my cold frames, digging holes, different levels, composting. Been doing more pruning of my berry brushes and that, but that's really good. So you got the running, the allotment, and then I come here after I've been to my allotment. So we do a run, allotment, art studio, and then in between that, dedicating time for relationships and also my relationship to myself. You've got to do the self-care this year. One of my New Year's resolutions was to rest more. So I'm definitely doing that. I mean, I've rested mostly today, not doing any ice. All you have to do an ice bath like 4 or 5 days a week and that'll do you. You don't have to do it every day. Like I used to say, you have to do it every day. If it were clean, I would have bloody done it today. So I'm going to clean it later, nice and fresh for in the morning, get up in the morning early, get a run out of the way, back to it. And but I think I'm getting better at fiddling about with my time now, again, because I got out of it, but I'm back into it now, and it's nice to be meeting new people that are into the same things, and that literally just want to do it and then go home and go on with their lives. So I like that, and it's nice to speak to people and meet new people in this new running club. So I'm going to try and stick with it. It does seem quite difficult, but if it's easy, it's not worth doing, is it? And just before I come here, even the bloody door wouldn't shut, so I started chiseling it. I was like, I'm going to chisel and plane this down a little bit because it's been pissing me off. It's been too squeaky and it's not been shutting properly. And then halfway through I realised it were on the latch, and that's kind of why it weren't shutting properly. But as well, it did need chiselling a bit down the side of it. So I finished that off and now it's shutting alright. But I think it needs damp proofing, that hole. that whole bit of the house, but it'd be alright. The rest of the house is mould free, no damp or anything, be alright. But yeah, and I'm playing with this lovely knife. It's a G-Door Red. It's a cheap knife. They're like £10, but they are really sharp and they are really good. And I got another knife as well. I think it was made by Petzl. Don't know if that's how you say it. They make lots of climbing gear, ropes and carabiners and stuff. Getting really into my knives, especially since I got the allotment, and they're just really useful because you always need a knife for cutting bits and bobs. Because I got sent a massive voucher from an arbitrary company to use to buy some new products. So I got secateurs, snips, knives, carabiners, helmet, scissors, just a bunch of sharp shit really. It's going to help me make things and keep the garden tidy and that. So a big shout out to Honey Bros, thanks for that. Really nice. I've been entering every competition I see on Instagram. I've been entering it because just keep winning stuff. That's one of the things this year is, again, just go for it. Just think, probably got more chance of winning that than winning the lottery. And all these people win the lottery, not entering these competitions. I think they're going to piss people off from tagging them. I don't give a shit what people think about me. I'll just do whatever I want. Do whatever I bloody want. We're all going to fucking hit the hay one day permanently, aren't we? So just do whatever you want as long as you're not hurting anyone. Yeah, that's a life update, I guess. Running, growing stuff, sorting stuff out. Art. I've been here painting. Really, I'm just thinking about colour a lot, and I really want to get a new camera, but I might just have to stick with what I've got. iPhone, old DSLR and this GoPro, and take them out with me at different times of day, kind of photograph the same thing, to understand more about how colours can change with different light sources. And I feel like even your perception of a colour can be changed depending on how tired you are as well. So that's a rather interesting exercise I'm going to be trying out. Almost maybe even more landscape sort of work. I'd like to get out more in the landscape. It's been making me feel a lot better in my head being out in nature. So I think I'm going to probably head towards that sort of route, I think, now. But still interested in vibrant colours, and you can see often anything multiple colours that other people can't see. For instance, roads are full of pinks and purples. They're not just grey. They're full of pinks and purples and reds and things, and trees are multicoloured. And I'm just out there picking those colours up and just, moving along that vibrancy button a little bit more, because that's what excites me. Yeah. So I suppose I'm just going to keep working on swatches. I might even take this with me, make a little box with watercolours in, with coloured pencils in, and spend more time out in nature, drawing, painting, photographing things. Especially interested in getting some new film camera equipment. I did sell a bunch of it. I think I'm going to get some more. I really like low quality, old, pretty shit kind of camera gear as well, because they warp what you see a little bit. They're not that good at representing what you can see, but it gives you a different perception of what's there. And I do like that. And I often think that it's not the camera you use anyway, it's how you take the picture that really counts and makes it a good picture. It's not how high def it is or whatever that and the other, is it? Some people ask me for a bigger file size, or have you got something with bigger resolution sometimes, and I'm just like, well, that's how it's supposed to be. It's alright. people want perfect for print, they're not going to get it from me all the time. You know, I like the fact that it's going to look different in different sizes. Maybe that's the point. You know, you can't really expand real things without them changing, can you? You know, you can't pat down a cloud in the sky and think it will just be the same but a little bit bigger, or a bit warped, wouldn't it? You know, do we think the same? Shouldn't we think the same should happen with photographs? They're always going to be, they're not going to be exactly in proportion. I don't know. It's just like unreal realness we want. This is art. It's not the real thing, is it? It's a representation of it, so it's never going to be that thing in the first place. So I'm not bothering trying to create something that other people can recognise straight away. I want them to discover it. Yeah, these are acrylics. So I sent some acrylics. I won some acrylic paint. So I started using some acrylics for these, which I really like. I don't really like the finish of acrylic paint as much anymore, because it's kind of like in between matte and gloss satin finish. But it is good for your quick studies and stuff, and painting underneath oils. And you can figure out how to make it work, because I painted with acrylics for years and developed different techniques so that I could get finishes on them that I rather like. For instance, to mix it with some chalk or some charcoal, you can make it a bit more matte and a bit more textured and get different looks. And then just use different media altogether, to be honest. So you can use acrylics and oils, spray paint. You can use all of that stuff on the same surface. There's no rules. You can use muck straight off the ground. It doesn't even matter. It's all about the process. Anyway, if it gels with people, it gels with people. Gels with people. It gels with people. Yeah. I suppose another thing I wanted to talk about, what I was talking about with people on the run that I was on yesterday, was relationships, and the fact that you need your own time in your own life and your own things for you both to be happy, really. Because you can't just take from one person, because you won't have any energy to do anything else. You need to have your time separate from each other, don't you, really, if you want to be happy. I think that's important, and I think you have to go through something sometimes to realise that, because you could be all that happy and all nice, but you need to remember to practice that. And it can be hard if you don't have a full-time job and you're employed to do them 9 to 5. If you just do what I do and you're an artist and you just do odd jobs with lots of different things, then you kind of had a lot of free time in your hands, or whatever, because you could pick when you want to do stuff. You have to be careful about time management, and spending your time thinking and ruminating, or you're spending it doing something productive that's going to bring you more joy and settle your mind. I think it's important, which is why I do all these different things. But they can become distractions, and you need to actually process things. If you've got something up with you, you can't just distract yourself with painting and running and whatever else you do. You have to sort of go within sometimes, write stuff down, have conversations with people, understand why you feel uncomfortable around certain people when they do certain things, and come to the bottom of it and start setting boundaries and rules and things. It doesn't sound fun, and sometimes people don't like it when you talk about these things, and they get scared, or you get scared that someone else is going to say something you don't like. But you just got to come out and say things. If someone's doing something that you don't like, or it's making you feel uncomfortable, you just have to tell them. Sometimes it's hard to figure out what it is sometimes, but you know, just got to do the work and figure it out. Else it could be the end here. I mean, yeah, hard work all this year. Work up to like 30 miler, or like 50 kilometre, which is like, well, like 30 something miles, and then after that 100 kilometre, and then after that I suppose like 100 miles, as opposed to doing 100 miles straight off the bat. Like, only training for like fucking 3 months to try and do 100 miler is ridiculous. You need to train for over a year for that, and compete in other events, and rest and recover, and just understand more about how to fuel yourself and that. I might even do an experiment where I ask Chat GDP to help me come up with a training schedule for this week. It already did, and it come up with some good stuff actually. Because it does draw from all areas of the internet, all different sources to kind of give you an answer. I think it's quite good for stuff like this, for coming up with training plans and stuff. And then you can always edit it. But yeah, it was just like, run this amount this day, this amount this day, and it tells you like what paces to go. Like if it's a tempo run, if it's an easy run, a recovery run, a run before the day of, to just loosen you up. When to stretch and everything. When to do yoga. It's great. What's the other thing I wanted to talk about today is the rise of hatred against women and online. That's probably to do with the rise of the far right, but also this kind of blurring of politics, of where you just get this like edgelord politics. I don't know, and it's probably just a bunch of fucking 12-year-olds who are somehow manipulating adults who aren't very smart but think they are, because they've been to university or are in their first year of university, or they're just new fresh adults, or even like just any age. They're being manipulated by what a bunch of 12-year-olds are reposting online about some sausage in Romania somewhere, who says he's the top G, telling you how to act around women and that. And yeah, I think it's fucking dumb. I think that if you're blaming other people for your problems to start with, you're a coward. And if you treat other people with disrespect, because that's just cowardice. That's just fucking shit behaviour. You need to sort yourself out, because obviously something's wrong with you. Because, you know, people that are healthy, they don't treat other people like shit so much, I don't think. They haven't got any time. They're too tired. They want to go to bed and eat something. Like, we all slip up and say things we don't mean sometimes, but I think there's a culture that's emerging that's really ugly at the minute, and it needs to be nipped in the bud, because it's disgusting. There needs to be something done about it. And we don't want loads of bloody men becoming fake male feminists just so that they can get laid and that. No, I'm talking about sort of like just a proper conversation about it all, or just maybe a different way of educating people about it. Because I've met loads of different people that were affected by abuse, and I just think it's horrible. And then people around them have to pick up the pieces as well, and it affects me, and I have to like deal with that as well. So it's just disgusting. So people need to fucking have a think about how they're behaving. And I keep seeing all this stuff about Pakistani grooming gangs, and then I also see stuff about how it's like only a small percentage of the whole grooming gang thing, and then that whole gang related thing is just a small percentage of like abuse on the whole. My thinking is there just needs to be more action, more investigations into it all, but there needs to be more preventative measures so that it doesn't happen in the first place. And more education about the sort of warning signs and red flags, so people could pick up on it earlier and just help people out of bad situations. I don't know how you do that, but just be nice to people and listen to them. And when they're trying to tell you something, listen, and don't just go into your own head and play a song or something and ignore what they're saying. Like, listen to people and hug them and just say, I'm here for you. And that's all you have to do. You don't have to fucking, you don't have to do anything other than just listen to them and give them a hug. And that can make them feel much better and not want to, they might not want to kill themselves so much that day if you do that. Because all these people are getting to thinking like that. There's so many people going through stuff. It's shit. Yeah. And I think it could be quite easy, even if you got like bad mental health as a bloke, and then you start going to men's mental health groups. That could be a danger as well, because I feel like sometimes these lads, they start to become quite hateful of women and stuff. Maybe because they're not got on with their mums, or maybe they've had a bad thingamabob or something with someone, and then they sort of generalise, and then they start to hate a whole bunch of people because they have a certain thing. But it's total bollocks, and it's cowardice again, and it's weak. And if you don't want to be weak, you need to practice being strong. And being strong is taking responsibility for your own actions, and just not being a fucking knobhead, and apologising if you're a knobhead. Just suck it up. It don't fucking matter. You're not that. Nothing's that deep. You don't need to be so high on your horse. You're all full of shit. Everyone's full of shit. No one's fucking smart or clever. So just fucking focus on yourself rather than hating other people and beating them up and hurting them, because it's not on. And you're a twat. You're all fucking twats. But anyway, love and peace will rise again, and there will be another something or other of that, like the 60s, although that's all sort of glamorised, isn't it? And it weren't really all love, and just people being fucking shot on campuses by police and that on it. How miserable it all is, and terrible, but it's not, and that's why you have to fucking do all the nice things so you feel good. So get out in nature and that. But yeah, don't just ignore the negative stuff because you can't deal with it. Like if you really can't deal with it, then do something else to distract yourself. But try and do something to help someone, at least every so often. All right. That's all I have to say today. So in summary, do stuff that makes you feel good. Do stuff that makes other people feel good. Don't be a fucking coward. Report abuse. Be there for people. And have a good week. Get up early. Do stuff. Get to bed. Have better fucking bedroom hygiene. And that means no screens in there. Just fucking get to sleep. Don't be a twat. Follow your dreams. We're all going to die. See you later. Bye.